The Southeastern Wildlife Exposition is happening in February of 2021, but on a smaller scale. I talk one-on-one with the Executive Director of SEWE, John Powell, for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. John Powell, welcome back to the award-winning Quintin's Close-Ups.
Hey, Quintin, it's good to see you again.
Likewise, I saw you last week Friday when I was getting off the Mount Pleasant bus to come back down to work.
I saw you.
Yes, sir, and I know you were busy because obviously you're the Executive Director of the Southeastern Wildlife Exposition. And I know that your organization's continued mission is to contribute to the local economy while promoting wildlife and natural conservation and preservation. Obviously, that has grown in size and impact every year, making SEWE one of the most invaluable events in South Carolina's resources. What is the size and impact of SEWE these days, John?
Well, Quintin, in a regular year, we have an economic impact that's listed in $35+ million, over 2.1 in direct state and local taxes, and on a more personal level, if you talk to people that are in the retail corridor and in downtown Charleston, and then in the hotel and restaurant industries expanding out in the Tri-County area. I like the word you used, invaluable. We kick off the tourism season, and that's the economic part of our mission, which we take very seriously as well.
How do you kick off the 2021 tourism season in the midst of COVID?
We're working on it. We're trying for it. We started, as you might imagine, SEWE takes a long time to plan, and we can't make decisions and turn on a dime. So our pivoting has to start months in advance. So we were very fortunate to have SEWE 2020 under our belt before things began to shut down. But we pretty much immediately started to look at what a 21 show would look like. And so we drew up a plan that called for a smaller event, basically utilizing Brittlebank Park, as much outdoor space as we possibly can. But the central focus of our show has always been wildlife art, and that's not something that's easy to have outdoors. So we work with the Charleston Marriott to move our fine art gallery that's typically at Charleston Place over to the Marriott, and then have a curated list of exhibitors that you would normally find at Gilliard or Marion Square over to those two exhibit sites. And it pains us not to use 3 of our major exhibit sites in 21. But we had to make decisions that were based on, the health and safety of our attendees and our fiscal responsibility to SEWE. So we knew that we were going to make an effort, and we're optimistic but realistic is a phrase we use all the time. As cases rise in South Carolina and around the country, so does the percentage chance that we may not be able to have an event. But we made the changes to the overall template of the event, and then of course we have safety precautions and procedures in place, and those are fluid as well. We've been working with the Mayor's Special Task Force. I have a meeting today with the Special Events Committee. Application process that goes to the Department of Commerce, which is not something we normally have to do, and common sense here and there.
And you talk about that application process that you have to go through with the Department of Commerce. What was that process like for you all?
Well, they made it relatively simplified in the fact that you could do it all online. And we'd had conversations before with some representatives in the department about what are realistic numbers, that based on Brittlebank Park being almost 10 acres, and how many people per square feet and that sort of thing. And so we had those conversations, and then the application process itself was pretty streamlined. They made it easy to submit your application for sure.
And obviously you talk about those numbers, and I know obviously 40,000 people usually visit Charleston for SEWE. What will be standard, and what will be actually revised this year?
So standard, yeah, we're in that 40,000 range on a pretty February weekend. This year, the caps between 2 exhibit sites are really in the 4,000 to 5,000 range, depending on what those sites are. And we've done a few small things. We typically have a 3-day pass, but we do not have that this year, because you'll be able to see most of the show in a day or a day and a half, depending on what your interests are. Some people may be more interested in the knock dogs, while other people may be more interested in art. And so not having a 3-day pass, but having individual tickets to each day allow more people, more individuals to see the show, across a 3-day period. But that will certainly minimize, to an extent, what our impact is. And again, every time we say we hate something like that, we're also in the same boat. So everybody understands. But to repeat my earlier point, we continue to look at those numbers, and they may change. We have ticket caps, which we've never really had before, except with our VIP program and for special events. So charting a new course here, just like everyone else.
And what type of course are you charting with that cap for tickets?
It eliminates the ticket purchase on site, so it eliminates some contact. It shows that we'll only have X number of tickets out, and that that number is going to fall well under the number of people per square foot at either an indoor facility or at Burbank Park. We have lots of room to spread out. It gives us more controls.
Absolutely. And I know, obviously, you talked earlier about the revenue, 35 million economic impact. What event generated the most money for the event last year?
Well, you really have to take the whole of the event, Quintin. We rely on very supportive corporate partners. We seek public and private funding wherever we can. Art sales were very successful last year, and then ticket revenue. I mean, we had a tremendous number of people descend upon Charleston last year, which was great. The economy in February was still going strong, and we catch a good weather weekend, and we typically see a surge because there are a lot of people that have been indoors for the winter. They're looking for an escape. It's after the new year, and their next thing is SEWE on their calendar.
Yes, indeed. And what exactly were those numbers of people who actually attended your event last year?
We put the estimate in a little over 40,000. There are special events that happen sort of outside the SEWE umbrella by other conservation organizations that people will come into town for. There are areas like Marion Square, and again in a regular year, that are free and open to the public. We provide educational entertainment, especially for school age attendees, which we love to see on that Friday. And that exhibit site, we do not have a counter for. We can only take crowd estimates, and then everything else we compile the ticket sales at the different exhibit sites per day, our corporate partner engagement, and that's how we arrive at that number.
And what is that like as far as engagement with your corporate partners?
Well, again, are we talking about in a regular year, Quintin, or are we talking about? You talked about it a little bit when we opened up our mission, which is multifaceted, and for our corporate partners, it checks a lot of boxes. You can put the focus on the conservation front, education, the arts. We bring in wildlife artists from all over the country and beyond, and the economic impact of the region. And it's real special that our event has evolved to become so powerful in so many of these different ways. So we love local. We love our partners that they support us regardless of what's going on. In times like now, Boeing, Wells Fargo, Dominion Energy, some of these partners that have been with us for a long time and continue to say, hey, as long as you all, continue to try to fly the flag for the city of Charleston, we're gonna stick with you, and that's been great.
And let me jump right into, you talk about those corporate funders. How many of those are actually down for 2021?
I'd say a good many, Quintin. Some of the smaller partners are sort of taking a wait and see approach. Some of our larger funding partners, they realize that this isn't just some event that pops up and one weekend is planned the weekend before. It takes a dedicated staff. It takes a lot of money to build what we build every year. And if we do not have a full show in 2021, we know that we'll see some economic setbacks. But like every year, we're already planning a few years in advance when it comes to educational personalities coming in or who the artists will be in 2022. So a lot of those plans start now, regardless of what we're facing in 21. And our larger partners understand that. They understand our importance to the city of Charleston. And so their commitment has really been extraordinary.
And who exactly will be the artists in 2021 since we're still in 2020?
Well, we have a long list on our website, and we actually have a new website that'll be launching on the 16th, which we're really excited about. That's been 18 months in the making. Our featured artist is Mark Horton, who's local to Charleston. He's an extraordinary artist. I've known him for a long time, even before he started participating in SEWE. And, not to pull too much on those strings, but I think Mark paints some inspirational pieces, which we can all look to right now. And his featured piece is entitled Onward, and you'll be able to find that on our website and a lot of our print materials, like our poster and things of that nature.
And what else will we'll see on this new website?
You'll see a very clean approach, a really, it's an excellent platform for art, which again is the central focus of our show. And so it displays it well. It gives us better, maybe more powerful options of selling merchandise throughout the year. And it helps us explain the show to, the thousands that come from outside of the Tri-County region every year. It paints a more clear picture of what SEWE is, and gives us other opportunities on the site to promote Charleston, Charleston County, Mount Pleasant, Berkeley County, the people that also support us throughout the year.
Exactly right. And I know in the interview that I was just watched with you that you did with Layla Glula and Fox 24, you said, hey, the economic impact fluctuates and it grows over time. Where did the economic impact of SEWE fluctuate, and where was the growth over time?
It's going to fluctuate in ways or at times that you would expect, Quintin. It's if we have a rainy weekend, or if the economy's poor, we're just like any other business. We're gonna see those effects. It's grown over time in the sense that the show has grown tremendously over the last 38 years, and especially in the last 10 to 12 years. We've expanded over to Brittlebank Park, and we're a little bit busting at the seams at all of our exhibit sites, which is a good problem to have, again, in a regular year. And we've been looking at ways to sort of fix that and control the crowds a little bit over time. And we have to think about that when it comes to 22 and how, things may be a little bit different then. For 21, we know what our caps will be and how to keep people distance. The future will be a little bit different. We may pave the way a little bit for some special events in 21, assuming we can activate. And I think the events that become behind us will also give us good examples of how, sort of the new norm will go into effect when it comes to big, high volume events.
Now, I know you talk about some of these events and some of the spaces being obviously, outpaced for a lot of your events. Is there any talk around the SEWE table about actually expanding out to Daniel Island for 1 year or so?
No, is the short answer to that. We're very much a part of downtown, and downtown is very much a part of our event. The fact that people can roll out of an exhibit site and go see a retail partner or go to their favorite restaurant becomes part of the SEWE experience, not just what we offer on our schedule. We're always looking for ways that we can take a little bit of pressure off the peninsula because we pack it with so many people. Mount Pleasant has provided options in the past. It gets a little complicated when you talk about shuttle systems and how people get back and forth. And we'll always look at those options. For instance, in the town of Mount Pleasant, we have a physical presence. We have a sculpture exhibit that lives there, and we try to send people there throughout the year. But as far as the SEWE weekend, we would have had to have looked at that really hard very early in the year. And we thought that the Brittlebank and Marriott options seemed to make the most sense for our organization and for the city.
What exactly what guidelines that is will be in place when people come out to Brittlebank Park in 2021?
Again, a lot of what you'd expect. We expect to be fully masked. All of the staff, vendors, and those that are under the SEWE umbrella will be temperature and symptom checked. We'll have to enforce the mask rule. We've created some layouts where people can enjoy retriever demonstrations or dock dogs with some separation between themselves and their and other family or friend groups. We expect there'll be interaction, but we hope that the way that we put these regulations in place will show that people can still gather, just with a little more distance between them. We'll have some flow in the tents that keep people going in one direction, and then you'll see some standard distancing signage on the ground and in other places that people have grown accustomed to that help show them where to stand and remind them to keep some distance.
And you talk about the vendors. Let me talk to you also about the exhibitors, and let me go back to the vendors, because I want to know this. How many of those vendors and exhibitors are down this year versus last year?
Well, unfortunately, we took the template down to a size where the number of people that want to participate far exceeded what we had room for. We had calls, and I had individual conversations with a lot of exhibitors, educators, performers, whatever you want to. You can go on down the line, and it would be what you would expect when some that are elderly, that are more at risk, said, "You know what, I'm going to take this year off," which we totally understand. And I think along those lines, it's important. Our attendees, our corporate partners, our artists, our vendors, our staff, it's a very personal thing that we do. And from attendees, we have a refund policy in place that basically says, hey, take this journey with us. We're going to keep trying to figure it out. If something happens where we can't keep it safe, then we're going to refund your money. And we've been very blessed by the people that have come on board and said, hey, let's see if we can pull this off. Corporate partners the same way, and artists and exhibitors the same. And again, individual conversations. If anybody was remotely standoffish, or you don't want economic factors to get in the way of someone's health. There's so many exhibitors that their entire Q1 is based on their success at SEWE. And so you want them to be there. You want to help them generate some revenue, but not at the expense of their health.
And let's fast forward to February 2021. What do you want that headline in the newspaper to say about the Seedling Festival?
You want to see the word safe. You want to see the word successful. We want to be the event that shows us how to gradually get back into the events game that Charleston relies on so much, and we want to make sure we do it right, and so and not mess it up for those events that come behind us. So I think if we can stay safe and be successful, and those safe is there's one definition of that, and same with healthy. Successful, that'll be relative this year. We're realistic about what we can do, but again, we have a duty to the city of Charleston to try and have an event that boosts the city.
John Powell, thank you so much for your time, and again, welcome back to the award-winning Quintin's Close-Ups.
Quintin, thank you so much. It was good to see you.
Likewise.